Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It's a new week. I am super excited for the week ahead because I am expecting a lot of movements in the market, not only from the stock market front, from the digital currencies front, because we've got a couple of events coming up, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. Again, make sure you hit the like button, leave us a comment of your thoughts where you think price of Bitcoin, price of the particular altcoins that you're trading, where you think those prices are going, and what are the hottest projects that you are paying attention to. The other thing I want to talk about is our website right here. We are still once more accepting members into our Alpha Trades Advantage membership. You can go to the products page and buy the Advantage membership right here. You get access to all these lock channels that you see, right? All these lock channels in the traditional altcoin space, the DeFi trading area, equities trading area. We have a Bitcoin trading area with all these channels and the other Advantage extras where we have position updates. We have videos 2 times a day. So just like you're seeing a video right now, we have a video for our Advantage members in the evening time, right around the daily close. And then, of course, if you have questions regarding, yeah, technicals for any other project that you want, or you're struggling with something regarding trading, just a ton of information, resources in all these channels. So again, if you want to join the Advantage membership, go to our website, thealphatrace.com, hit the products page, and buy the Advantage membership. For $97 a month, you get all this stuff right here. Okay. All right, let's get to the business. Okay, first thing I want to start off with is I took a quick survey from people on Twitter, just to get an idea of exactly where people are in their sentiment of price being by the end of this coming week. And 50% of people kind of said, 12,000, and then 23.5% right around 11,000 and lower. And then some people also said around 11,100 to 11.5 chop. Okay. And this was a particularly important answer because this doesn't necessarily mean bearish. It just means that we're probably just going to, be range bound for another week. Right. So I like taking polls like this just to get a good idea of where the market is. And this poll, along with other things that I see in the market, I see in my Twitter feed, whether it's bullish or bearish, it helps me get a balanced approach of where exactly people are in terms of their emotions, in terms of their sentiment. And to be completely honest, I think it's fairly balanced right now. I don't think everyone is necessarily bearish, but I don't think everyone is necessarily bullish. I'd probably lean to the side that maybe it's like 55-45, more people are bullish. So it's not a whole lot of difference, right? So anyway, let's get to first looking at what is coming up for the day ahead, right? So Monday we have the IMF meeting. Okay, they're talking about cross-border payments. Of course, they're going to be talking about digital currencies, and that is starting around 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And I think this is something that you should watch if you have time today. If you have, the urge to listen to things happening in the digital currency space, things how other governments are looking at this. I think this will be good, and I think the other person speaking on it will be Jerome Powell as well. And of course, I'm sure he's going to be talking about Bitcoin and other parts of the crypto market. So I think is going to be particularly important for us to pay attention to. Okay. Um, Now, the other thing, as per just raw data, right? We have Bitcoin, which has now spent 93 days, 3 months since start above the current price of 11.5K. And in that whole time that we spent price above 10K, we have not seen a significant amount of volatility. See, the thing about volatility is when the markets are actually calmer above a key area that we've previously struggled to hold. Like, here's an example. Okay, um, whenever we came right close to this, 10K area, 11K, we got sent down hard, pushed up hard, sent down hard, pushed up hard, sent down hard. Again, pushed up, try to get past, 10,900 or so, and then boom, got torched down to 7,000, right? So the point is, there's a whole lot of resistance right here. Even 10,500 got sent down hard. Again, 10,500 sent down hard. So the fact that we've sort of remained in this area for a long time without a whole lot of volatility, the volatility is there, but it's not significant. This to me is the sign of a maturing market. Okay, at least in this range right here. Um, and that's a good sign because it kind of goes to show that price feels a little bit more comfortable here. It's not very bipolar. It's not moving up and down, trying to figure out where support is, where the real sellers are, real buyers, etc. Right? It's actually kind of moving in a larger range, if you will. Okay, and that's not necessarily a bad sign. So that's just something that I wanted to point out from skew data. Just an important point. Okay. Let me see here. So Crypto Quant, they gave me access to this closed beta platform, and I think it's really solid. The one thing that I'm personally seeing in the data that I've seen so far, open interest is still relatively strong, and I'm not seeing any weakness where I would be concerned for people on the long side, or nor am I really concerned about the shorts, really. And you can look up different exchanges right here. For example, I've been paying attention to Bybit a little bit more because BitMEX has actually lost a bit more of open interest to Bybit or FTX or even Binance. If we're looking at from network data, not network data, what am I trying to do here? Let me see, exchange flows, there we go. Let's see here. Okay, so let's look at outflows, right? So another important metric that we pay attention to in the Bitcoin space is that how much of Bitcoin is flowing out to exchanges versus being pulled out into wallets, like hard wallets, right, or cold wallets, if you will. Um, well, there's not a whole lot of Bitcoin coming onto exchanges because you can see the total outflow is generally going down. It's remained relatively stable right here. This is indicative of there's less supply pressure that is available on exchanges, from the standpoint of, Bitcoin asset. So this creates an environment where Bitcoin, if it started to push up, it's a little bit easier because there's not a whole lot of Bitcoin, waiting to be sold directly because it's not on exchanges right now, right? So this again, to me is a good sign. We could look at minor outflows. So let's check that out. Minor flows. So inflow total. So again, miners are some of the biggest supply owners, right? So if miners are starting to show you that they are moving inflows, meaning they're moving Bitcoin onto exchanges, that'll be a bad sign because generally when miners do that, they're looking to sell Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin inflows from miners is relatively low. So this is, again, in my opinion, a good sign that there's not a whole lot of supply pressure on exchanges. Now, of course, anything could happen in today's IMF meeting where Jerome Powell or Christine Lagarde or anyone really says something crazy about cryptocurrencies and then price tanks, $500,000 or something. But if we kind of take these metrics into account about minor inflows, about the exchange outflows, and then of course then we start digging into price. Well, here's where things start getting interesting. Okay, first of all, I am currently of the belief that we are consolidating right here under resistance. So this blue marker right here is 11,775. Okay, just take it as like $100 range, right? 11,700 to 11,800. Okay, so that is the resistance right here, this blue marker. In my opinion, the fact that we're consolidating under that is a very good sign. Okay, I think it's a very healthy and good sign. If we start pushing up through this, I personally don't see any reason why we should stop, all the way up to at least 12,500. That'll be the first area to stop. Okay. And our friend Harry, okay, he's the one who developed the indicator. And I'll show you guys our indicator right here real quick. But our friend Harry, he has put out a awesome analysis of fib rings. Now I don't really have that much experience in fib rings, but as you can see, some of these fib rings that he's utilized have been quite spot on. For example, this 618 fib ring, right? It's been perfectly tapping price way back here in August and September, and then again getting rejected right now in October, right? So if we say we break down today, tomorrow, well, price should be coming back to this 50% fib ring, and that's currently around 10,400, that range, okay? But if we push up the next fib ring, depending on when we reach it, let's just say we reach it in the next week, well, we should be getting to it around 12,500, 12,600. Okay, that'll be the price. Now, again, that goes with my strategy, which is if we break above where we are right now, okay, so this area as we consolidate right here, right, if we break up, the first area that I'm looking at is this marker right here, okay? There's honestly nothing else that I see would be tremendous resistance to hold us off from getting here. Okay, so that's kind of the first thing that I'm paying attention to in terms of Bitcoin. All right, now on the 4-hour basis, there's some unique things that are happening. For example, we have this triangle that developed, and then we pushed up from it, broke back inside the triangle. But again, this is a key SR level, $11,460, which again, now we're trying to do our best to stay above it. If you were, the part of our Advantage membership, you recognize that, I had mapped out these levels quite well. I stated that this is one support area that we should be watching, 11,235. This is the other, which is around 11,190. And then the other ones are 11,360, 11,460, and then way the heck up here around 11,550, 11,575. Okay, because that level, if you look right on a 30-minute chart, you could see it's resistance across the board, right? It's a resistance right there, right there, right there, and then of course it comes back right there. So I think breaking above this area and holding is going to help propel us easily towards 11.6, 11.7, and once we start breaking that area, like I said, we should be golden all the way towards this 12.5 high. Okay. Now, of course, if we dump, my my main area to watch for support is some of these levels. Okay, first of all, we can throw on the new pivots now. Okay, so at present moment, we're currently under the pivot, right? So the first area, if I were looking at support, is at least this S1, which is around $11,200. If that breaks, the bigger support levels, in my opinion, are right here around 10,775, 10,800. And if that breaks, I'm generally looking for this 10,584 support. Okay, 10,584 comes from this area. So you can see this multi-month SR label right there. You can see it was resistance, 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 flipped this into support right there. And across the board, as you can see, it's a nice key SR level, right? So that would be the key area that I'd be looking forward to for price to hold. But again, I don't think we need to really worry about price getting in that deep, because I honestly don't think it's going to get that deep. Generally, if things are bullish, right? First of all, when things are bullish, you have very few days of consolidation, and you don't get that much of an opportunity to jump in because price is actually moving fast. So what I would expect is, over the next 24 hours, 48 hours, we start breaking up from here. Once we start crossing this threshold around 11.7, right? I think it's game on. I think it's straight up towards 12,500, which is that target that I just spoke about earlier. Okay. Now there's a couple different ways to look at, Bitcoin versus altcoins, right? I have some altcoin positions, but I also have some Bitcoin positions. One of the ways that I've been looking at, BTC versus alts is this key chart right here, Ethereum BTC. Okay, so this is the ratio of, ETH price to BTC price, right? So at present moment, it's on 0.0327. Okay, it is on this nice ascending curved trend line. Okay, now I'm sure you guys may not have seen curved trend lines like this, but in my experience, they've actually worked quite well. So where we have, price coming to a support is, basically right where we are right now. So even if we move sideways for a couple of weeks, I could see BTC and ETH kind of relatively pushing up together. But I would probably make the argument that if ETH catches support on this trend line, I think ETH as a ratio, okay, again, as a ratio, as a percentage, will probably outperform BTC on a relative basis when it starts hitting this trend line and starts pushing up. So I think that bodes well, not only for ETH, but I think that bodes well for altcoins. Okay, so altcoins like Link and Dot and Theta, maybe even Bcash because they have their, what is it called, like airdrop or halving event, whatever that's happening coming up. So it's possible that those altcoins, are going to do decently well too. Okay, and of course, I'm sure there's going to be some DeFi coins that are going to do relatively well, and then NFT tokens that are going to do well. But the point is that I personally think that altcoins will probably do a little bit better than BTC. Okay. The other way we can look at this is Bitcoin dominance, right? So again, I pointed this out to our Advantage members. What I'm seeing is this ascending triangle. Okay, now you could look at this two ways. All right, this could be a large, bear flag. Okay. How do I do this? Okay, there we go. This could be a large bear flag. All right. In which case, if this starts rolling over and breaking down, well, that means, Bitcoin could still go up, but that means altcoins are accelerating higher. Okay. It's also possible that Bitcoin goes down and then still altcoins go up. That is what dominance breaking down means. Now, if dominance breaks up, well, this is where things might get a bit more troublesome for altcoins. Because if dominance breaks up and price starts accelerating up with it, well, then that implies that, okay, altcoins are about to really shit the bed. But the interesting thing that I've noticed over the past, several days is that, things like ETH, even, right? They're creating their own. You could look at this as like I said, a bear flag or maybe an ascending triangle. Now, if the ascending triangle breaks up for ETH, well, I think ETH is gonna, push the envelope quite a bit, and it's gonna start accelerating higher. In which case, I would look at dominance to actually fall, the Bitcoin dominance. And so I don't think Bitcoin prices itself are going to accelerate that hard. I think they'll take, a nice steady upward movement versus, candles like this anytime soon. And again, anytime soon, I mean, in the span of 1 to 2 weeks. I'm not saying like, for a good month or two or anything like that. Generally in crypto, when I'm speaking about timelines, it's very hard to look, several months out. I might make some random predictions here and there, but it's very hard. Like a week in crypto is like a month in the stock market because things move so fast. Market movements are much more accelerated because it's a 24/7 market. News flow and even money flow impacts the market much harder. So this is why I kind of keep my predictions and projections kind of at bay and closer, more so towards a week or two. So I'm kind of looking at, ETH, in my opinion, to push up, break out. And once it starts breaking out above this resistance high of this triangle, which is around 395, 400 to be safe, I think we're going to probably start accelerating towards 425, 440, all the way up to this 480 marker quite swiftly. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be a swift movement to the upside. I do think a lot of people are going to be caught off guard. That's what I'm thinking. The ES, again, the S&P 500 E-mini futures are doing okay. Overnight they pushed up nicely. They're now above this key SR level. That's not bad. Okay, we need to hold up above this level and start pushing higher. Once we start doing that, I think that'll tell me that, okay, this Bitcoin movement that we're seeing is warranted, and we should start seeing, more upside movement soon. Another thing that I told my Advantage members is when you see this weird looking head and shoulders right here, right, that failed and it went up like this. I love failed head and shoulders patterns because they're incredibly bullish. In my experience, they're extremely bullish, because what that tells you is, bears really, really tried hard to break this level. Even if they didn't try to break that level, but what they could have done, the argument could be made, is they brought price down to this level, okay, to get people to short into thinking that we're gonna start breaking down from here. But in fact, what happens is bulls, absorbed into this area, okay, and then they start pushing up price higher. So everyone who shorted down here is about to start feeling the pain soon. And what happens when price keeps going up and up and up? Well, people start short covering, meaning they have to start closing down their short. Meaning, to close their short, you have to buy a long on the opposite side to close your short. So that further accelerates price even faster, even harder. And that's where you start seeing, swift movements in Bitcoin, like $100, $200 candles, real quick. Okay. We did have a new weekly come out, so I do want to check out this, right? So let's do this, because I had drawn a weekly chart over here on BTC. So on the weekly chart, I'm seeing this kind of channel. I like this channel because, so far we have a touch, 2, 3. Now we're looking for an upside touch. Okay, so let's just say, we print a massive bullish candle literally this week. Well, where does that get us to? That gets us to around $13,850, which is this key high. Now, of course, that's a little bit hard to do. I don't know if we're gonna print a $1,300 or not $1,300, $2,300 candle for the weekly in this coming week. It's possible. It's been done before, but something to keep in mind. Now, the other way that I kind of pay attention to, support and resistance is you could kind of simply look at the candle closings right here, okay, on the weekly basis. So notice candle closed right there, candle opened and closed down. This candle rejected it with this wick and then, of course, sold off, right? So I think this marker, which is around 11,900, is going to be, another area that you could pay attention to from a weekly basis. There's multiple ways to play the market right now. Okay, so for example, let's just say let's just say we start seeing price, right, get above this area on a weekly basis. That's another area that you could say, okay, well, we're above this area, we're now closing above it on a weekly basis. I'm going to take the long towards this, channel high, which again is basically the high of this one right here, right? So that kind of tells us that, okay, if we break above 11,900, we should be getting to about 13.8, 13.9, right? So that is another way you can define, confirmation above a weekly level. Get above 11.9, 12,000 to be safe, and we should be aiming towards maybe this channel high or this wick high around June 2019. Okay, so that's one way to play it. If we get rejected right there and we start selling off again, well, maybe you could take a quick short position, back down to this support level, right, which was these, candles right here, which is around 10,900. Okay, so there are different ways to play it. What would I personally do? I think personally there's a better opportunity in terms of probabilities and possibilities that this is a better long than it is a short. That's what I think. But again, that's because maybe I have a bias, right? Maybe I'm thinking that, okay, this to me looks bullish. I don't see why the market should dump. I just showed you guys my argument about on-chain metrics. I showed you my argument about the ES looking better. I talked about Bitcoin dominance kind of in a peculiar area. in which case, either Bitcoin accelerates up or it's going to slowly drip up. But in any case, I'm seeing it move up. Okay, we're also above, the data that I showed you from skew. Realized volatility is down, yet we've spent so much time above 10,000. We're in the 11,500 area. We've spent a lot of time up here as well. So there's many reasons why I've kind of explained, my reasoning of why I believe Bitcoin is going to push higher versus lower. But yeah, if you have any other arguments, again, tweet at me, let me know why you're bearish or why you're, I don't know, maybe you have a different opinion of, well, maybe we chop around here for another month or two. I don't know. Anything that you have in terms of thoughts, shoot them my way, tweet at me, the_alpha trades right here, as you can see, or you can join our Advantage community. Like I said, go to our website, hit the products page. $97 per month gives you access to all this stuff right here that you can see, all the locked channels. Okay. Now, finally, what I'm going to do is just do a quick wrap up of our indicator that we have where we partnered up with Harry. Again, this indicator, I think at present moment is kind of showing you that this moving average ribbon right here, or rather the moving average line, which is this aqua line, is rejecting price. In the simplest way, that's the only way we can look at it, is it's actually rejecting price. And so if it's rejecting price, well, then you don't necessarily want to be buying long right now. Maybe on a breakout above this line, you want to be long. Maybe you could also look at it and say, okay, if it rejects this price and it comes back to this red ribbon, 10,900, 11,000, then you can start longing and then, aiming for an upside movement. Okay. So that's another way you could look at this. All right. We have another indicator that we pay attention to quite a bit. And this one is called a Shepherd indicator. Basically, it's an RSI divergence-based indicator. What it's effectively showing us right now is RSI, or momentum is trending up, right? Usually when momentum trends up, what you're kind of looking forward to is price to kind of give you these ins, where if price comes back into this green zone and you get a bounce out of this, well, that's a long opportunity. Okay. Now, of course, as you can see, the aqua line has not come into that green area. And it's not necessary that we have to come into that green area, but you could look at this consolidation and say, okay, if you believe that this is long, and if you're seeing the Shepherd indicator give you, this momentum showing you upside, right? Well, then you could buy into a long right now. Okay. Or at least you could buy into the bullish narrative, if you will. I'm not telling you to go long or anything. I'm just showing you what the indicator is showing. Okay. And then where things kind of top out is this area right here. Just like on the RSI, we have oversold levels. There's a couple different formulas that Harry has created that indicate oversold levels, as well as, finding bearish divergence, finding tops. So for example, T kind of indicates that this is a general top. The red B kind of indicates that we have a bearish divergence building. And then once the lines cross over and go from this green zone, as you can see, into this red zone, this is where the momentum starts shifting to the downside. And of course, as you could see, as soon as this started happening, this was the bearish divergence that built, sold off, again, pushed up, sold off, right? So as per this indicator, I mean, it was solid work that kind of gave us an idea that weakness was being shown in this area right here. And so Advantage members and, even Harry and myself were warned. Okay, as per the indicator, we were at least warned. But yeah, that's it, folks. You guys have our views on the market. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, leave a like, leave a comment with your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys in the Advantage community over here, and where the magic happens, where all the fun happens. All right, cheers.